She had no idea who he was. To her, he was just another customer, a guy in a hoodie sitting alone in the corner of the restaurant. He didn't ask for anything special, just a black coffee and some scrambled eggs. But when she stepped in to help him, everything changed. By the end of the night, she was fired. By the next day, the entire world knew her name, and what happened after. No one saw it coming. Megan had been working at the diner for almost 2 years. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. She knew the regulars, memorized their orders, and even had a system for dealing with the difficult customers. That night it was just another shift, or so she thought. The man in the corner barely spoke. He kept his head down, sipping his coffee, listening to something on his phone. Megan noticed the other waitresses whispering. They seemed excited, but she didn't know why. Then the manager walked out from the back. His face turned pale the moment he spotted the man. Without missing a beat, he stormed over to Megan and grabbed her arm. "Don't go near him," he hissed. She frowned. "Why?" "Just stay away. Let someone else handle it." Megan didn't like being told what to do, especially when it didn't make sense. The guy hadn't done anything wrong. He was just sitting there, minding his own business. A few minutes later, another waitress approached his table, a forced smile on her face. "I'm sorry, sir, but you can't stay here," she said. "Our manager, he wants you to leave." Megan watched as the man slowly looked up. That's when she saw his face clearly. Joe Rogan. She wasn't a die-hard fan, but she knew who he was. The podcast guy. The one everyone was always talking about. And now, for some reason, her manager wanted him gone. Joe didn't argue. He just nodded, set some cash on the table, and stood up to leave. Megan couldn't stay silent. "Sir," she called out, stepping forward. "You don't have to go. You didn't do anything wrong." Her manager shot her a warning look, but it was too late. Joe smiled, shook his head, and said, "It's all right." Then he left. 10 minutes later, Megan was fired. She walked out of the diner with nothing but her tips and a million questions running through her mind. She had no idea her life was about to change forever. Megan sat in her car, staring at the diner's neon sign flickering against the dark sky. Fired. Just like that. No warning, no second chance. All because she stood up for someone. Her phone buzzed. A message from her coworker. "Lisa, you're not gonna believe this. The manager is freaking out. He just realized who that guy was." Megan sighed. Of course, now he cared. She didn't even know what to do next. Her rent was due in 2 weeks. She had groceries to buy. No job, no backup plan. She opened Twitter to distract herself. That's when she saw it. Joe Rogan's name was trending. She clicked, and there it was. A tweet from Joe Rogan himself. "Shout out to the waitress at that diner tonight. You know who you are. The world needs more people like you." Her stomach flipped. The tweet already had thousands of likes, hundreds of comments asking what happened. And then, someone posted a picture, a blurry shot of her standing next to Joe just before he left. Her notifications exploded. "Who is she? Find this woman. She got fired. We need to help her." Megan's hands shook. People were tagging her, sending messages, demanding the diner rehire her. Some were even calling for a boycott. Then her phone rang. An unknown number. She almost ignored it but picked up at the last second. "Hello, Megan?" a deep voice asked. Her heart stopped. It was Joe Rogan. Megan's throat went dry. She gripped her phone tighter. Yeah?" she managed to say. "Hey, it's Joe." The voice on the other end said casually, as if this was just a normal conversation. "I heard what happened. I just wanted to check in." Megan blinked. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. "You. Wait. How did you get my number?" Joe chuckled. "Let's just say people on the internet work fast." "Are you okay?" Megan let out a nervous laugh. "Not really. I just got fired for trying to do the right thing." There was a pause. Then Joe said, "That's messed up." Megan didn't know what to say. Was she really having this conversation with Joe Rogan? "I don't want to put you in a weird spot," she said. "I didn't expect any of this to happen." Joe sighed. "You didn't do anything wrong, and I don't like seeing good people get punished." Megan's heart pounded. I appreciate that. Listen, Joe continued. I don't want to say too much over the phone, but I have an idea. Can you meet me tomorrow? Megan's breath caught. Meet you. I'm in town for another day. Let's talk. I think I can help. Megan hesitated. This was insane. Completely insane. But what did she have to lose? All right, she said. Hibo? Where? Joe gave her the details. And the call ended. Hibo? Megan sat there in stunned silence. Less than an hour ago, she was just a waitress who lost her job. Now Joe Rogan wanted to meet her, and she had no idea what was coming next. The next morning, Megan woke up to hundreds of notifications, messages from strangers, reporters asking for interviews, and even a few job offers. Her face was everywhere. She barely had time to process any of it before heading to the location Joe had texted her. A quiet cafe, away from the crowds. When she arrived, she spotted him immediately. Same hoodie, same relaxed posture. But this time, when he saw her, he smiled. Hey Megan, he said, standing up. She sat down, still trying to wrap her head around everything. This is crazy, she blurted. Joe chuckled. Yeah. The internet moves fast. He leaned forward. Look, I'll get straight to the point. What happened to you was wrong. You were just doing your job. And now your life's been turned upside down. Megan nodded.
Pretty much.
Joe took a sip of his coffee. I have a podcast. Megan let out a small laugh. Yeah. I know. Joe smirked. I want you to come on, tell your story. Her stomach flipped. Wait, what? You don't have to, he said. But people already care about what happened to you. Why not use that? Megan hesitated. She wasn't used to attention.
She was just a waitress.
Not someone who did interviews. But then she thought about her former boss. The way he threw her out like she was nothing. Maybe it was time to speak up. Okay, she said. I'll do it. Joe grinned. Good. Let's make this happen. The podcast aired the next day. Megan told everything. The way the manager treated her, how she was fired just for standing up for someone. Joe backed her up, and the internet went wild. Within hours, the diner was flooded with bad reviews. News outlets picked up the story. People demanded justice. And then, the unexpected happened. A well-known restaurant owner reached out. He wasn't just offering her a new job. He was offering her her own restaurant, an investment, a chance to run her own place. Megan couldn't believe it. She went from being fired to being offered a future she never imagined, all because she chose to help someone. And just when she thought things couldn't get crazier, her phone buzzed again. An unknown number. She hesitated before answering.
Hello?
A familiar voice spoke, but it wasn't Joe. It was someone bigger, someone even more unexpected. And the moment she heard the name, she nearly dropped her phone. Her story wasn't over. It was just beginning. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.